Are you there? And Simon?
Yes, we are here. Simon.
Yeah, Simon.
Your servant.
Yeah, I'm trying to project some of my icons are obstructed. So what I'm doing is that I'm sending you the material. You're going to help me project, okay?
That's fine, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm having a technical hitch on this side. So give us a second, please, if you don't mind. Give us just a second, and we'll dive into this. So some people are saying the first check is for paying your debts, and then because you've just started working. Now I want you to react to this. There's a young man I asked to tell me when somebody should start planning for while you are in college, even before you get your job. How realistic is that? Is that realistic? So that the whole thing about accumulating debts, you're already thinking about it even as you get your first check in employment. Do you think it's practical?
Can I attempt to respond?
Yes, please.
It's practical depending on the financial knowledge that you have been equipped with, because then you're able to draw a plan. Yes, the income has not started coming in, but you already have a plan in terms of how you lay out, even in terms of where you need to invest, which assets you need to focus on, how much you need to start saving. So the starting point is that for any income that you get, then what is the saving? So you start planning. So immediately you start making an income, then you implement, you operationalize that plan.
So what you're trying to say that it's something that can be done.
Yes, it can be done with a lot of discipline. Yes, it can be done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Because there's another question I've been asked, and we will try to address this question here. I've been asked, the people attending this session today, there are people here who are maybe 35, 40 years, 45, and they have not been planning for retirement. Is it too late to start planning for retirement? That's the other question. If anyone is here who wants to attempt that before Simon hoists the slides, anybody? Maybe you've turned 40, you are 50. Is it too late? Can you have a volunteer, please?
Yeah.
To react to that?
May I try that?
Yes, please.
Okay. I don't think it's too late. Only that the contribution, the monthly contribution to have a good retirement package will have to be a bit high.
So I love the part of it's not too late. I love the part of it's not too late. Actually, you can give it a shot and go for it. We're going to see shortly whether those arguments are valid or not, because we also have to think practically about exactly how do you go about retirement planning. Remember, the retirement plan is the end result. Personal finance is just what I would call a roadmap, the steps you're taking. Entrepreneurship is an ingredient that helps you to have a good retirement, plan or results for retirement planning. And I just want to ask, Simon, did you get the material?
I'm hoisting it right now. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Simon. So I'm being told here by Marcella that it's never too late. The journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. And the person who asked me this question was wondering how much time does one still have in their life or in terms of their productive life as far as income earning years are concerned, to be able to do what? To have a good, strategy for retirement. We will have an answer for that in this session. And so let me just say that this session Simon, you okay?
Yes, yes.
You okay? Yeah. So let's give Simon just a moment so that he can get started. Now, just remember, I want you to remember one thing as we go forward, that all of us are going to retire anyway. Whether you are employed, whether you are employing people, all of us will retire because I've had people saying that time is passing, therefore you need to start your strategies for income generation now because time is going. I want you to underline this, time never goes anywhere. It is us who are going. That's why our children will come and replace us. And we are going to see why, you need to do a good job after today's training about going back on the drawing board and asking yourself difficult questions and be very practical. As I'm speaking now, I want you to look at the years you still have active life. Does anyone know the lifespan in Kenya? Because I remember President Kibaki increased the retirement age for civil servants from 55 years to 60 years. And somebody was telling me what the president was doing is that, number one, he was deferring the payment of your pension by another 5 years. And it is thought that within those 5 years, some people would actually die, okay? And you know, there'll be no need to pay their pension afterwards. So let's go into the material because time is moving. And thank you very much, Simon, for doing this. And I would like to just say that we want to link your decision-making skills to how you manage your personal finances and how you think about entrepreneurship. Remember, everybody was not born with entrepreneurial skills. We'll define what entrepreneurship is. And then the end result is having a good retirement plan. The end result is having a good retirement plan. And I think we've lost Simon. So what I'll do, I'll just come here and try to just post these materials. So if I move to the next slide, it's talking about what exactly we want to do. So I'll move and or just request you to reflect on this because you've answered the first two questions. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes.
Evans, can you try to click on that
yes.
on the top row where there is autosave, then save, then after next there's another slide for video. You can click on that and it will be a full screen on your end for the slides in a PPT.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
You're welcome.
So, but I can see Simon has already done it for me.
Okay.
Simon has done it. So, Simon, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Simon.
I'm here.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everybody, for the support. So we'll move on. Simon, can you move to the next slide, if you don't mind, please? Thank you so much. So this is what we are doing. We will discuss decision making. I'll share with you some tips on how you take decisions around your finances. Those principles for decision making will also affect your decisions on entrepreneurship, of course, after defining what entrepreneurship is. And then we'll start by talking about retirement planning and just get to the bottom of it and ask ourselves, are we doing a good job? So Simon, let's move. So one way or the other, okay, we know we'll retire, okay? And I know in this session, all of us can calculate when we'll retire. Some of us in this session still have 2 years to retirement. Assuming retirement means, you know, when your contract with your employer comes to an end on the account of your age. But there are some careers where people never retire. You know that lawyer called Mr. Camino. You know, he's representing. You go ask him when he'll retire. You know, he's an old man, but, you know, he's in very high demand because of his ability to do what? To litigate on behalf of his clients. Now, when you retire, there's something called office power and influence. It will not be there. It will be gone, right? Whether you're running your own enterprise or not, you'll have handed that power over to other people who will be running your business. Then you will have no influence, or at best, your influence will be reduced, and your cash flow will also reduce. Okay? When are you due for retirement, if I may ask? Do you know when you are retiring? How many years do you still have? It's good for you to think about this because it is going to link to everything else we will discuss in the next slides. Okay, Simon, can you move, please, if you don't mind? So there's this question. I think we need to bring this early before we go into the strategies for personal finance and retirement planning. I want us to bring this early. I didn't want this slide to come at the end. I wanted it to come early because I have a close friend who retired last year and he died last month. Yeah, he died last month. I was very sad. And I'm wondering, this guy, we've been chatting, having coffee together. Now he retires and then he dies just like that. I don't know whether it was COVID or what, but I have no idea. So why do many retirees die early? Because they are not mentally prepared to retire. That's number one. So one of the things we are doing today is to help you to prepare mentally for retirement, because retirement is a good thing if you plan for it in advance. What is the other reason that many retirees die early? Is because of lack of finances. Lack of finances, and especially men. The gentlemen in this room, you're likely to be broke. You know your kids are going to come home and give your wife 20K and you want to kusqueezia 500 shillings. Wanakuambia mzee ni kubaya, right? And you are broke. Now you are a dependent. And generally, go speak to banks. It appears ladies seem to be more astute when it comes to saving habits and the good saving behaviors than gentlemen. But that's a subject for another day. Why do retirees die early? Some lapse into depression. Because remember, if you retire and you didn't have a good plan, then you are going to start begging from people because you don't have money. And the people will run away from you. And remember, human beings are social. And if you don't have any people to socialize with, you will slide into depression. You'll even wonder what's going on, what's happening to me. And that depression kills. And why do many retirees die early? Because they develop diseases such as hypertension, diabetes, because they are very worried, they're anxious, there's a lot of uncertainty, and there's a lot of financial pressure. The irony about retirement is that that's when you need money the most. And yet that's when it has reduced the most. It's a complex situation. That's why I want us to take today's discussion very seriously. Because when you retire, you'll need more money than you need now. And yet your capacity, let's go back, Simon, your capacity to generate that income will have diminished very materially. So we can move, Simon. I want us to just move because we'll come back to this later on. Let's talk about the decisions because we want to help you take decisions about your finances because we are talking about financial planning. A plan, is an organized way of thinking about, whatever you're doing, whether it is your finances, whether it is a project you're implementing, and how you think about whatever you're doing is such that you are implementing what we call disciplined action, okay? And you're also being creative in how you are thinking about the things you want to do, right? And then you also want to be productive because you don't want to make an effort like a chicken that sits on eggs for 21 days and there are no chicks that are hatched. You want something to come out of your effort at the end. And that's why it is important to have a good strategy for decision making. So we have borrowed from Jeff Bezos. There's a guy called Jeff Bezos, so majority of you know that. He's the CEO of Amazon. I think now they are saying he's the second richest man after Elon Musk in the world. And Jeff, between March 2020 and October 2020, he made more money in 7 months that the whole of Kenya has made in 57 years. He increased his wealth by US dollars 100 billion plus. And Kenya for 57 years, we only created 99 USD in terms of billions of GDP. But remember, for him, it's net worth. For us, our GDP includes loans that we are repaying. So you can see why we can listen to this guy when he gives advice on decision making. You know, 50 million of us, he beat us in 6 months in generating a lot of wealth. So he says there's type 1 decision. Now, type 1 decisions are not reversible. These are decisions when you take, usually you cannot go back. If you go back, it's already too costly. For example, if you're in an organization where you are purchasing expensive software, costing you 100 million, 200 million to install, if you didn't fix the aspect of being very clear on user specifications, you'll end up with a software that no one needs in your organization. And that software will be redundant on day one, but you have already paid for it. How are you going to recover the loss you have made on that software? That is a type 1 decision. And type 1 decisions, you have to take your time. You have to take your time. If they rush you, say no. It's good for you to know when a decision is a type 1 decision. And you get to know that through practice. Now, at a personal life, I'll give you an example of a type 1 decision. It's like the decision about whom you're going to spend the rest of your life with. When you're choosing a spouse, for instance, never be in a rush. I know cultures where people meet on Monday and on Wednesday they are tying the knot. There's a wedding on Friday. When it comes to decisions around your spouse, you need to take your time. Take your time. In fact, in some communities in Kenya, they even say you need to go and investigate whether they are night runners or not, right? And those are tough decisions. Don't rush. I can give you more examples of type 1 decisions. Now, we also have type 2 decisions, and Jeff Bezos says that type 2 decisions are like walking through a door, and if you don't like the decision of walking into a room, you walk out. You have seen sometimes how people purchase items, especially ladies. When they go to a supermarket, they buy on instinct. That's why a lot of guys don't like to shop with ladies, because ladies, they spend 3 years because they have seen a lot of good things in the supermarket, which is a good thing because they experiment and discover nice stuff. Yeah. And so you go to a supermarket and you think you like this cake. It must be very tasty because of how they've decorated it. And you are buying on emotion. You are taking a quick decision. Just buy. You buy. That's a type 2 decision. Don't be afraid. Because if you get home and you don't like it, you don't have to buy it next time. You can shift to something else. The cost is very low. At your place of work, the experiments you do with your processes, changing the templates for communication, those are type 2 decisions. But you'll find people taking a whole year to say that we need to edit this process because there are a lot of redundancies that are delaying our ability to serve our customers faster and give our customers more accurate information. And you see, type 2 decisions enable you to experiment with things, learn quickly, and improve fast. Now, your ability to distinguish between type 1 and type 2 decisions is important when you are making personal finance decisions, when you are planning for your retirement. Now, Jeff Bezos says that there's a problem when you confuse the two. As organizations get larger and bigger, there seems to be a tendency to use the heavy-weighted type 1 decision on all decisions. And that's why you find there are big organizations that are declining, and some are even closing down because they never experiment. The end result of this is slowness and thoughtful risk aversion, failure to experiment sufficiently, and consequently diminished invention. And we need to figure out how to go about this. So let's go on and just illustrate the two types of decisions, then we'll go back to personal finance. So this diagram here, if you look to the left, top corner, we are saying there is high irreversibility of the decision. So like that expensive software, okay, it's highly irreversible. And then the consequence in terms of cost is very high. The consequence is very high. And for such a decision, we are saying make the decision slowly, carefully, and methodically. Now, in the bottom right corner, you're going to see that you have a situation where you can decide quickly. Those are type 2 decisions because the consequences are low and you can easily reverse that decision. So you look at this diagram later. Let's move on, Simon. So you look at this diagram. On the left, we have the type 1 decisions, where if you look at the bottom, we are saying that we need to know what will happen. If you are buying expensive software, you need to know the reports it will generate, the results from the processes, its speed, accuracy, the needs of the organization, what you do as an institution on a day-to-day basis. And all those things, you have to know them with a high degree of certainty. If you look at that circle to the left, certainty has to be realized. Now for type 2 decisions, the ones that you take quickly because you're experimenting, actually you can make mistakes with type 2 decisions. We are talking here about VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. And that uncertainty demands that you experiment. And this is how organizations create new solutions for the future, for themselves at a personal level, and also they're able to invent new things for their organizations. And remember, innovation must never be done blindly. You use type 2 decisions to innovate, but as you innovate, you need to measure your innovations. And you need to ask yourself, for instance, last year in 2020, how many innovations did you come up with for yourself and your organization? Whether it was a product innovation, whether it was a process innovation, whether it was a strategy innovation, those are different innovations. We also have a fourth type of innovation called management innovation. How you manage an institution. You can innovate how you manage. Can you write down 1 or 2 innovations you came up with and they are in use because people need those innovations? So think about this diagram and reflect about how you take decisions. So let's move back to finance planning by moving to the next slide. So we do this thing. Just go back a little. Yes, I want you to all get involved. I want you to tune into this flip chart. And you can see that we have personal finance, we have retirement planning, then we have entrepreneurship. And the thing is that when you're talking about personal finance, you need to ask yourself, are you thinking long-term about your personal finances? Are you having plans for investment? Are you saving? How would you rate your saving habits on a scale of 0 to 10? Are you prioritizing how you spend your money so that you are not putting money in buying Muzinga on Friday so that guys can see you don't take shots, right? Are you innovating? We've already talked about innovation. And the question I have for you is, when you're saying that you're thinking long-term about your personal finances, what lessons or how has COVID-19 changed you? Because COVID-19 has really changed many of us. There's a friend of mine I was speaking to, and he told me that one of the things he learned during COVID-19 is that his personal finances were in disarray because this thing caught him off guard. He lost his job. He moved in with his parents. He was a dependent again at the age of 43, right? And he was telling me the other mistake I made is that I did not even invest in a house for myself because I have nowhere to shelter. If these parents of mine were not here, I would be in big trouble. That was a difficult story for me to listen to, but he told me he has learned. He now knows what he needs to do, and he's going to take action to make sure that he puts his personal finances in order. Now, while we are sticking at the personal finance column on that slide, I want to just go to investing and saving. Before you invest, you need to be having a saving habit, because you cannot invest if you don't have what to be invested. For you to have what to be invested, you must have saved. But let's take a typical scenario where you are earning a salary every month. And your question right now perhaps is, what do I do with my salary of 100,000 shillings or 50K? All right, there's a book I read where they were saying there's a rule they call the 20-30-70 rule. 20-30-50 rule, sorry, the 20-30-50 rule, where they're saying, sorry, your salary, when you get your salary this month or next month or any month, they recommend as mandatory, you need to save 20% at minimum. Don't touch the money. 20% of that 100, that is 20K must go into savings and do not interfere. That's at a minimum. Now, out of that 100K, they are recommending that 30% can be used for purchasing what you call wants. You know, remember in economics, we did a discussion on the definition of economics, which is allocation of scarce resources on needs and wants. Now, wants are things that you can live without, right? Like you can cook your coffee in your house. You don't have to go to Java. That's a want. But they're saying you can place 30% of your income on wants. Like saying, all right, I must, dress in the most fashionable, gown, or I need to buy these trendy shoes, yet you have shoes at home. That's a want because you want to look good. It's okay. You can spend 30% of your money on that, those kinds of things, because you are living, life is for the living. Then 50% should go to your needs. So there are things you cannot live without. For instance, if you're paying rent, you must pay rent, or the landlord will kick you out of the house. KPLC will disconnect power. So you need to pay for electricity. You need to pay for gas because you need to cook your food in the house. Those who are now relying, because internet is becoming very important, that 50% should also cover your internet bundles for you to continue doing your things online, because life has shifted onto online platforms. So your 100K, you split it into 20, 30, 50%. Now, over time, as you save that 20% out of 100, remember the 20% is minimum. You can squeeze yourself on your needs. That 50%, you can slash it to 30%, and you liberate that cash and bring it into your savings. You build your savings over time, and then you invest. Down the road, you invest. For instance, if you save money and you pay for your CPA course, communication, PR, customer service course, or you pay for an entrepreneurship class, or you pay for your MBA, because you can save that money with a circle, and the circles normally give you ×3 or ×5. You go take a loan, invest in your education. Education is a financial investment because it will be the basis for that big multinational to give you an opportunity to work for them. So it's a financial investment. So let me get to something else here when I'm talking personal finances. There are many other opportunities for investing other than your education, because education is an investment. You can also use your savings to invest in stocks, but you know what's happening with stocks. I'm not here to tell you or discourage you. The economy of Kenya 2 weeks ago went into a recession, which means quarter to quarter, our growth receded. We hope the economy will bounce back in the next quarter. So if you're looking at the stock exchange and you want to put your money there, pick the strong companies. And you know some of the winners on the stock exchange. Can anyone tell me a company on the stock exchange that is always doing well regardless? Is there a volunteer who wants to give us that example? Because we are being practical here. Anyone, please, don't be afraid. It's safe, just talk.
KCB?
Yes, KCB. Any other? Yes, I can see Safaricom, Jet Miner. You know, Safaricom is always rallying. Why is it? Because Safaricom, we need them every day. So we give them money every second of the hour. So you can invest in stocks. You can also have your savings. You put them in a fixed deposit. You negotiate with the banks so that they give you a good interest. Don't put money forever in the savings account, because savings accounts will always give you the lowest return. And your savings, you can also put them in other, things like unit trusts, where you have these companies that have got, plans. I can see ICA Lion, Henry Misiani, giving us an example. Now, the point of doing what I'm saying right now, putting your money in those places, is to give your money a chance not to erode in value. So over 5 years, if you choose the place where you're investing money correctly, in 5 or 10 years, you'll have put together enough cash to buy you a big asset, like an apartment building, or you could use the money to take a mortgage with a bank and pay for it. Because the good thing with mortgages is that once you have possession of the house, the bank is still owning it because the bank has the title, but you have possession. you can rent it out and they use some of the earnings in rental income to repay the mortgage. But in the end, it will be yours. You will retire with a house. And you don't fall into the trouble my friend fell into when we had the lockdown. Now, let me say something about investing very briefly before I move to entrepreneurship. I'll finish with retirement planning because I view personal finance and entrepreneurship as ingredients that help you to have a healthy strategy for retirement planning. So when you are investing, let's assume you have accumulated your savings. You have used some of the savings to buy into blue chip companies we have seen here. I've seen you suggesting KCB, I've seen Equity, I've seen Safaricom. There are companies like Centum and ICA Lion. I've seen them posted here. They have good products. After some time, if you decide you want to diversify your investment portfolio, when you're deciding to invest, always remember you are solving either of the following two problems. Some people invest to solve an income problem. I think most of us here do. And then some people invest to solve a purely investment problem. So I'll tell you the difference. What I'm telling you may not be in any textbook. It's just something we've thought about from a practical perspective. If you are in the bracket, like myself and you have some money and you are able, to earn a dividend from Safaricom, or you put money in a mortgage facility and got a house that you are renting out for 120K, and the bank is taking 90K, and you are left with 30K per month to do your shopping, you're just solving an income problem on your side. Because you see, if those tenants come and tell you things are tough, you lower your rent to 100K, you're likely to accept to lower that rent because you need the income. You are investing to solve income problems because you need that money to buy your bundles. You need the money to buy your dinner. You need the money to clear the fee balance in school for your children so that you're not embarrassed. Then there are people who invest purely to solve investment problems. So people like Chris Kirubi, when they put up Two Rivers Mall, Kirubi will never lower the rents for Two Rivers because he's making a loss in the first 5 years. He'll not go without dinner or sleep, hungry because Two Rivers is not fully occupied. He'll wait even for 15 years for you to pay the right price to secure space at Two Rivers. He doesn't have income problems. He wants to earn the right return on his investment because for him, he's focused on solving investment problems. Now think about this practically. You might ask me, so which author wrote this? No, don't ask me for others, yeah? What I'm telling you is true because personally, I've gone through it. I found myself, even yourself, where you are being pressed by the guys that are buying your services to lower your price because you need the cash. Because there are people who are troubling you, you need to clear with them. So you're solving income problems. So please keep solving income problems until we cross that Rubicon and enter into the next phase of solving investment problems. So let me jump very quickly, before I come back to retirement planning, let me jump quickly to the right and talk about entrepreneurship. And what is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is not owning a business. Entrepreneurship is not even managing a business. Entrepreneurship is a system of thinking. Entrepreneurship is how you think. Entrepreneurship is your attitude towards solving problems. Entrepreneurs have got this serial attitude, this serial desire to solve problems even where there are no problems. And not everyone can be an entrepreneur. That's why opportunities such as those fixed deposits, the unit trusts at Ion are there for some of us who may not be able to go out there solving problems even where no problem exists. And what do entrepreneurs do? Entrepreneurs work on organizations. Entrepreneurs don't work in, they work on organizations. So at your company, you may have employees who are actually entrepreneurs. And I'll tell you the behavior pattern of these employees is that they think every day about how to improve things in your organization. They'll even tell you that this process does not work. we need to discontinue this process because they are working on your organization. And once their proposals are adopted, your colleagues will implement because the rest of the people are working in the organization. And that thinking of working on things and changing them is a very important attribute for leaders. If you want to be seen as a successful leader, you need to be seen to be influencing results, influencing outcomes by creating changes or engineering changes that bring in new ways of doing things by delivering better solutions to your customers. Now, there's another aspect about entrepreneurs, which is they don't just solve problems. They have an additional skill, which is to monetize the good solutions they develop. They innovate, they use what we call empirical creativity to solve problems, and they charge you a fee for the solution, right? They meet a need in the market, but they meet the need by charging a fee for providing you with that solution. That's what entrepreneurs do. And I'll just share with you a story I read from Vusi Thembekwayo, a very influential leader and entrepreneur from South Africa. And the Vusi says that leaders or entrepreneurs influence results because they have the courage to take risks. And I'll request Simon if you can bring back the slides. And Vusi says, if you think of a bike race, or even Lewis Hamilton, the guy who always wins the Grand Prix. So in the bike race, when the race starts, Vusi says that the people who win the trophy are those who reach the corner and lean in the corner as if they are going to fall or crash, and they accelerate in the corner. But everyone else slows down because everyone else is afraid. And the entrepreneur makes the turn while the other guys are trying to make the corner. He's already crossing the finish line, and he goes and opens the champagne and lifts the trophy. Entrepreneurs are leaders, and therefore they are courageous because they are willing to venture in times of uncertainty. Gary Hamel says that we don't know what the future holds. Those are the same views held by Jim Collins, but we must endeavor to create the future. We need to have the courage to risk and create the future. And when I say entrepreneurs take risks, you can imagine a poisonous snake holding gold in its mouth. And if you go to take that gold, it will bite you and you'll die in a few minutes. Great entrepreneurs don't walk away. They call the KWS and hire a snake catcher and pay the snake catcher to go catch and retrieve the gold. And they go home with the gold and look for the best price in the market and they sell the gold. Alternatively, you go to the agro shop and they buy a snake repellent and they spray the snake and it gets confused and it leaves the gold behind and you pick it. That's the job of risk management. Risk taking doesn't mean you blindly take risk. It means that you manage systems for managing what we call the downside so that you don't lose out in the endeavor that you are undertaking. I want to come back, if you could adjust the zooming of this slide so that I want to move back to retirement planning. Retirement planning. Simon, if you're still here, just adjust the slides a bit. Now, under retirement planning, there's this whole question of income generation in retirement, and we are coming to that shortly. When you are talking about generating income for yourself when you retire, that is something that you must start doing today. You can't wait to retire, then you try to generate income, because that's when you will get the hypertension. That's when you will slide into depression, because actually no one will be willing to buy from you because the younger people who left campus will be doing what you're doing better than you. They know how to use technology better than you. They are more ambitious than you, and therefore they'll displace you from the market. So I want Simon to request that you move to the next slide, because I want us now to slide into a discussion that will help us to move to a point where all of us are able to leave this place with something that helps us. So preparing for retirement. Now we have some advice here for you. When you are given leave, please just go on leave. The 3rd day's leave take your leave. Don't resist. You know, there are people who never take leave, yeah? So whatever you do during your leave is what you'll likely be doing when you retire. If you find you're just idle during leave, walking around, saying hi to people, drinking coffee, a Java coffee house, then that is a replica of what you'll do in retirement. But then remember, in retirement, there'll be no proper income. You need to learn a trade or a skill during your leave. It will come handy later on. Spend your after office hours and weekends learning something. You need to learn something. Put aside even 15 minutes every day to learn a new skill, whether it's a language. Right now, as I'm speaking to you, there is high demand for foreign language speakers, in particular French and Chinese. And we have countless online applications, free, that you can use to learn a new language and land that job with the UN, where you are going to earn top dollar to help deliver services in West Africa, or to help the Chinese set up their infrastructure projects across Africa. Just 15 or 20 minutes every day, within a year, you'll be a different person. Don't spend your time sleeping, gossiping, or watching TV. Time is not going. I told you that earlier on. Ask yourself, that 15 minutes or 20 minutes I'm recommending to you every day out of 24 hours. Ask yourself, every day, the time you have in a day, how much return are you earning yourself on that time? Apply your time to learn a skill. Time is not going, you are the one who is going. That's why your children are coming to replace you. And the cycle will continue like that. Let's go on, Simon. Now you need to invest for your retirement. Now we looked earlier on about your monthly income, and we suggested, we are not saying 20, 30, 50% is good, but you can adjust those percentages to make it more aggressive in terms of savings. And then you need to invest. Remember, I distinguished for you between investing so that you solve your income problems, or you invest to solve your investment problems. That distinction, I tried to give it as clearly as I could, but you can always seek further clarification later on in this session. Your children are not a retirement investment, so don't bank on them for support or the support of friends or relations. And while talking about your children, I want you to look back. I think you have parents. Try to buy insurance for your parents, medical insurance, because if they fall sick today, you're unlikely to let it just slide. You're going to liquidate your investments for retirement and pay the bill at Aga Khan or something if you didn't insure your parents. I'm likely sure you have insured yourself, but your parents, please get them medical insurance. It's not expensive. 150K per annum, they are covered. These insurance companies have good packages. Because if you don't buy insurance because you love your parents, you're likely to drive yourself into poverty in retirement by failing to manage that situation the way I am proposing. Because those bills for medical nowadays are very high. So you can ring fence your investment by insuring them. Now be ready to take care of yourself. Everyone has their own responsibilities. So don't bank on the children. Children can help you later if you educate them and do everything, but they're under no obligation to help you. I don't know if you are aware of any families where the kids are not helping their parents. Now, kids will not be able to help you that much, likely, and you'll also lose your dignity and respect if you adopt a life of begging. People generally don't like people who are asking for money from them. Even right now, if you lose your job, those who are employed in this session, lose your job today, and you'll tell me tomorrow how many people will still be picking your calls. The moment they know you lost your job, you are on your own. It doesn't have to wait for retirement. Even now, while you are still very energetic, they'll not talk to you. Take it from me. It's something I have lived. So I'm not telling you a story I had. I've lived this. So Simon, if you don't mind. And these things are happening in your real life every day. Simon Machi. Is Simon still with us?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Hi. Okay. Okay, thanks. If you could just move the slides. So where are you going to retire? Yeah, where shall you retire? So we are giving some things here. So build yourself a home. You can also buy a home for yourself, okay? Buy a house. If you're built at home in Shags, it's fine. Remember, in Shags, life is not very expensive. So when you retire, life of Nairobi, where you are paying for everything, might not be very conducive for you. You may need to move back to the rural. Or if you have a home in Nairobi, that's fine. Yeah, that's good for you. Please have a home. It's very bad to be homeless after you retire. Think about this, please. So don't retire and start to rent a house or refuse to vacate the government house. You know, some people live in government houses and they resist moving after retiring. So you're going to be at the mercy of the landlord at a time when your cash flow is not predictable. So please think about this slide because it's very critical. And we can talk about this thing of homes and building a house in more detail at some point. So if we could move, let's move there's a lot of advice in the charts and we'll go through that shortly. Simon, if you don't mind, you could move the slides. So build a home. And some of the investments you could consider. This is not exhaustive. Like I said, we are not offering here the full package. Our job here is to give you indicators, offer direction. And in terms of some of the investments you need to consider as you plan your finances based on the principles we discussed earlier on, is have property which can be rented or converted into cash. Because rental income is good. Rental income is good because you don't intervene a lot. People will always need shelter because shelter is a basic need. And you charge for that. And they are happy to pay you because you have solved a problem for them. So try and invest in this space. You can have shares that pay good dividends. You gave me examples of Safaricom and KCB and Equity earlier on. And then those companies with the unit trust, ICA, Centum, and the others. Invest there. But seek advice from experts, friends who know before you invest in those places. Talk to us. We will give you our views for free, but your decision will be final. We don't have to influence your decision, although we will influence based on the advice we give you, but the decision will be your responsibility. Then plant cash trees, right? Nowadays, there's something called avocado. You know, avocados are in very high demand in Asia, Middle East, Far East in China, in Europe. We can't just meet the insatiable demand for avocados. That's why when you go to central Kenya, you find that most of the coffee plantations now, farmers have planted avocado, and those farmers are now millionaires, right? There are other cash trees, macadamia, name it. In short, consider a bit of farming. Why is farming good? Farming is good because farming is investing in the primary sector. And the primary markets usually supply things that people cannot live without. And avocados are food. In fact, when you read the advisories on medication, avocado has got the most recommended pH for treating coronavirus. It even beats the lemon, the overrated lemon. They are saying rare goats, cows sell milk. They say goat milk is more nutritious than cow, but me, I don't know the difference. I'll just take the milk. Cultivate vegetables, do farming and sell. If you can, because everybody cannot do this. But you can get people who can help. Look for things that you can do, but sometimes success comes with pain. And then the activities will not only give you income, but will also keep you busy and healthy. You need to keep busy and healthy so that people don't think you are too idle now asumbua. Then let's move, Mr. Simon. We are now finishing. Now, this is a closing slide, and we are saying your desk at your workplace is not permanent. Plan for your retirement starting today. This is a closing comment we are giving you. plan for your retirement starting today. And if you have any questions, because this series is running on a monthly basis, we are going to address other different issues. Like in the next series, we'll zero down a little bit into investment so that we go more deeper and look at a few case studies and examples of how you can make investment choices and how it could work and how that could affect your retirement. And then we will be, zeroing back into your financial and finance planning skills and see how it works. Then before I hand this program back to Simon, we will also go through your comments. If you have a question, you can also raise your hand and ask the question. I just want to say that this series we've started at Capable, which is for free, you don't have to pay anything. It has attracted attention such that as I speak to you, we are working with a group of leaders to roll out finance planning skills for teachers across Kenya, and it will be delivered online. And you'll hear more about this in the coming weeks. And when the program takes off, I think we are going to make a difference also for all the teachers in the Republic of Kenya and maybe beyond, because it's an online platform. You might find people subscribing from far and wide. Over to you, Simon, if we could get any questions and comments before we end.
All right, so thank you so much, Infants, for that very timely presentation. A concept or a topic that affects everyone as an individual directly. And so this is a time when I would like our participants to share in their comments and just share the discussion. I know we have a lot of questions, maybe pertaining to our preparation towards retirement. I know the platform is full of people of different age groups, I believe. Those who are quite older than others, and so their retirement is, I think, closer to the door than others. So let me just have you share your questions. You can raise your hand, or you can also type on the chat box if you're not in a position to speak. I can see Nicodemus' hand is up. Nicodemus Kitukuza. If you can hear me, you can share with us.
Oh, thank you. I was just commenting on how you could use the slides while he was not able to share them.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Nicodemus.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Eric Aloch. Hello? Yes, Eric, you can speak.
I hope you can all hear me.
Yes, you can.
Yes, thank you for sharing on the topic. I'll just want to ask, like we've said, all of us cannot be entrepreneurs. So I wanted to ask, maybe in Kenya, do you have a place whereby people with ideas are looking for people who can finance the ideas and become part of their companies or their innovations? Like the way they were doing in the KCB then things. Are there a place where you can go and get as many ideas as possible and just look at which one suits you best and be part of that family?
Yeah, that's a fair question. One thing I just want to say before I answer the question is that the government of Kenya is concerned about intellectual property rights for entrepreneurs, people generating ideas, because the government wants to go the way of the United States of America. And there's a guideline, I think, in place. When you register your company and you are a young entrepreneur, for instance, or a new entrepreneur, you should go and subscribe to this particular framework so that if you have an innovation or an invention, it is protected. Now, in terms of people funding ideas, they are actually venture capitalists. We need to just look for those who are available in our market. And you'll find a majority of them are actually, majority are foreign firms who who are actually taking on board new ideas. If you have a new innovation that can make a difference, they are able to fund it. But of course, you have to agree arrangements on shareholding, the equity stake you'll have in the business. And this is usually a discussion you would have, because there's no guarantee your idea will work, but they will always be willing to fund. So maybe we should dig for more details to just come up with an outline of who these companies are and the institutions that are doing that, and then we share with you. Simon, can you take note of that delegate who just asked about people who can fund new ideas? Then we'll be able to assist.
Okay. Thank you, Evans, for that.
Eric, can you drop your mail on the chat, yeah, or privately, if you don't mind?
It's okay.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, Eric, for raising that. I think that has also helped iron out the same concern for some of us in the house who are not able to see something. I don't know if there is anyone with a question. I know we have.
Simon, Simon, before you continue, yeah? Simon, before you continue.
Yes, Evans.
I just wanted to request delegates, if you could go in the chat and tell us, because we are running this as a monthly series, the whole thing around personal finance. It's running as a free program every month. Personal finance, entrepreneurship, and retirement planning. We want to know, first of all, if you think it is a timely idea, number one. And then secondly, we want to know if you have any suggestion on how we can improve the program. If you can post the comment in the chat, or you can raise your hand and articulate. But back to you, Simon.
Okay, so thank you for that. I think we can weigh on that. We have provided that session carrying on a month. So I want us to give you thoughts on the same, but it can help capture the key things to consider in this session forward. Yes, Margaret. Okay, I can see Frost Mwangi. Might you be sharing with us your mic? Okay, I can see a comment in the chat box. So most Music says this is very timely. Timely topic in retirement is key. We also have, I think, Doris. Thank you, Kappa. This is a very insightful session. We are now more knowledgeable about retirement and investment. Leah Chepkieng is concerned, saying, to go to the savings way for your retirement, where is it best to save? That is shares, banks, etc. Everyone can watch that. And then Eric and Roach also has a question. Are there opportunities for people? Oh yeah, that's addressed. So if you can say something on concern. Evans, if you can hear me.
Evans, you can hear Simon.
No, I can't hear him entirely. Yeah? I could not hear him entirely. What was he saying?
Yeah, there's a question on the chat box from Leah. Leah is asking if you go the saving way for your retirement, where is the best where is the best place to save? Is it in shares or the banks?
Oh, she would like to hear my opinion, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So take this as my opinion. It's not a fact. So it's just my opinion. Personally, if if you read the reports from investment analysts, if you read the reports like from Knight Frank, the guys in property, and the firms like Centum and the others, they'll tell you that the class of assets that is the riskiest is actually equities, shares on the stock exchange. Reason being, you know, those shares can actually lose value as much as 50% in 3 days, and you are in trouble. It just takes a bad news or announcement, and that's it. Then those same reports say that the class of assets that has the highest return is actually real estate. And the class of real estate that we have observed that earns the highest return in real terms is actually accommodation. Now, when you compare accommodation as real estate compared to office space, you go speak to the people who are selling office space in Nairobi, and they'll tell you the amount of trouble they are going through finding customers. But the guys who are in accommodation are somehow able to breathe. But overall, the property class of assets, real estate, has a higher return, actually the highest if you wish. So if I were to advise you where to put your money, if you wanted to go into shares, then pick a company that is a proper blue chip. Yeah, don't, you know, you're solving an income problem likely rather than an investment one. So please don't hurt yourself by picking a weak company. Pick a company that has prospects. But how do you know that a company has prospects? Read the reports that have been published, get the financial statements, find out a lot of information about that company. It takes time to understand what a company is doing, even find out who is leading the company, what is their vision. On the other hand, I would say if you're not very sure and you don't have enough money to back you to get a mortgage from a bank to buy a house or something, then you see if you can get land and put up your own house and you rent it. The other alternative is to buy time by fixing the savings you have. Fix the banks, you can negotiate a higher interest rate than what is offered on a savings account. And then when you think you're ready, then go into property. But when you go into property, try to invest in an area that solves a primary need. You know, there are what we call the primary market and secondary market. Like this business of Capable of training, this is a secondary market. People can live without these trainings. This is a secondary market. But if it was a primary market, like food, like accommodation, like healthcare, that is primary. People cannot live without that. And when you put money in the primary sectors, you are almost guaranteed a return. You can take that home with yourself, if nothing else. Thank you. All right, Simon. So Regan, it appears.
Simon is having an internet issue.
Yeah, so Regan, can you make a few remarks before we bring him back to close?
Okay, so I don't know, Evan, your opinion on cryptocurrency. Maybe we leave that open.
Cryptocurrency, you see, the thing is that cryptocurrency, you can go for it. But remember, cryptocurrency right now, there's normally what they call the first movers advantage. The people who got into cryptocurrency early, especially Bitcoin, because there are other cryptocurrencies, they're the winners. And you know, it's like a billionaire club, yeah? Because right now, when cryptocurrency started, one Bitcoin was less than $100. Right now, one Bitcoin is 50,000 US dollars. How many people in this webinar can own one Bitcoin? Yeah. Right now, 50,000 US dollars is how much? That's 5 million shillings, isn't it? I think you'll be happier going to buy a nice 2 or 3 bedroom apartment on Mombasa Road and rent it out. And the guys benefiting a lot from cryptocurrencies now are the miners. The miners are the guys who verify their accounts. Remember, cryptocurrencies run on what we call blockchain technology, right? And blockchain cannot work without the miners using, you know, a lot of power, electricity to mine and verify all the transactions online. And that's why actually those Bitcoin platforms are very secure. That's more secure than your bank account, right? So they're good. You can go there, but I think I need to do a bit more research and maybe offer some views in the subsequent sessions. For now, just do things that you know that people need, that are preferably in the primary services sector, that can earn you income.
So thank you very much, Ivan. Maureen Butsela will take a note of what you said. You are particular about capable rolling out this training to save the young people. In fact, based on your charts, you're actually saying there's need for us to save the young people and encourage them to dream, because it all starts with a dream. Our team have taken note of that. We had actually a program similar to what you've suggested, but we roll it out in the course of the year. I know Simon Mwachi have taken note, and we can assure you that that is something that we are going to do in the next coming months. So to everyone who attended this meeting, this webinar, we just want to say thank you, and everything we'll do at Capable Limited, we'll always have you at in mind and at heart. So we'll keep on rolling out programs that we feel will be relevant to each and every one of us, and we'll be making prompt communication. We are working on a database that will be out by end of next week, that will ensure that you get a timely adverts and any upcoming webinar that we feel will benefit you. So once that is rolled out, then you'll be able to communicate in the coming days. So at this point, I want to hand over the program to Simon, who will now call it a day. And thank you for your attendance and for your time. Even that was a great presentation. And as Capable, on behalf of Capable, we just want to say thank you. So Mwachi.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Regan. Also, very special thanks to FCK Evans for this awesome presentation and for the solid assurance that we will have a series of this same critical topic on a monthly basis. And so, having clocked 6 minutes, I'll take this opportunity to end the session, unless there is anything crucial that you want to share with us, but you can simply share with it in my inbox, and then I'll pick it up, and then we can address it directly with you. For those concerned about the presentation materials to share alongside certificates, I also have in mind we need to share close to 101 certificates. I'm not sure. So you'll bear with me. And I really look forward to see most of you engage in the conversation. I've just shared a link that will take you directly to the page that I've displayed on the session, where you'll be able to click webinars and make a registration. I'm going to update the list of the upcoming webinars so that you can register for them once and for all, and just wait for the notification to join. Yeah? So I think that will make it easier for all of us to time ourselves and ensure that we don't miss out this very powerful session. So thanks for all those who have acknowledged what we are doing on the chat box, and thanking Capable family. And I'm also happy. So I'll end the session right now. I'll quickly make a word of prayer, and remember to share your concerns with me before you leave, because I need to compile them and ensure that we deliver to you quality service even as we move forward. So I will make a prayer, and then we will be at liberty to leave or chat with other members, even as I wait for everyone to log out so that I can end the session. So let's pray. Almighty Father, thank you so much. In a special way, we are grateful to Capable, and especially the facilitator, SP Evans, and the team for coming up with this timely topic. Thank you for all the delegates who have trusted in our services, who have gained, and who are looking forward for more empowerment in the coming sessions. Bless their families, relatives, and friends, and continue keeping us safe and helping us prosper even amidst these tough times. Thank you, and it's through Christ's mighty name that I pray, believing and trusting in you. Amen. So, team, we are at liberty to give. Remember to share with me your concerns privately so that I can have them noted down. Thank you.